Hey guys, and welcome to the Igloo today. So today we're going to be talking about how I am structuring my solar panels to be essentially free and also powering my Tesla so that I could also have that for free. In the next episode though, I will be showing like my DIY Tesla Powerwall because getting a Powerwall is a 9 to 12 month wait period from the time that I did initially do it, and it's still 9 to 12 months because of the battery shortages, them ramping up their Austin and Berlin plants. So I don't expect to have any kind of Tesla Powerwall anytime soon. And from the last video that I talked about, they were requiring Powerwalls to be upon install, but now they're not because obviously they don't have enough batteries. So the big thing that I wanted to go through is in my county, I had to have a plot survey, even though I'm in a townhouse, which makes no sense whatsoever, but it required that. So that was, for me, $675 out of my pockets. And what I wanted to do is like, okay, so the cost of this is around like 16,000. Yeah, no, sorry. The contract cost is $18,440 because I went with a mini inverter system, so a microinverter system. And so each panel has its own inverter on it so that it can be able to power itself and go into my panel array, mainly because my roof is so damn small. And the way that it was laid out, I was like, okay, so how can I generate $18,440.80, not factoring in tax incentives, federal tax credit rebates, and all that other stuff? Why? Because it just didn't work out. I tried to do it before the end of the year, but the city has been taking forever to do anything. So I was like, well, how can I generate that amount of money annually in some way, shape, or form in what I realize? And to what I know of is that it was in cryptocurrency. So the two big things that you could be able to generate in your own aspect. If you like something physical, it's called the Helium Network. And I have it set up at my mom's house as well as my house so that it can communicate to the IoT devices. Now, if you don't know what Helium is, it's mainly a service for using IoT connectivity as a replacement towards Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and other carriers, but on the blockchain so that you can transfer data. So with using this process, I was able to have many videos that I went through. You never just get the base hotspot. Now, obviously, because of the chip shortage and a few other things, I could not buy it just from the website because it's just like buying sneakers. They're sold out instantly. So I had to go to Facebook Marketplace and buy one for like double the price. But then I was just like, well, the math works out that I could be able to pay for it in 2 months alone. And it's working out to be that way because I did my research that I needed to have a 5.8 dBi antenna. It's the gain that you need to have. Antennas range in the United States range from like 2.8 dBi to like 9 dBi for what's within regulation. So you can be able to use that and determine what is the closest area of proximity for yourself. Now, if you are not in a metropolitan area, this could not be good for you, or if the hub that you're communicating towards is a really bad sector, could be very challenging. But I'm right outside of Philadelphia, and as I'm aware of, I think it's number 13 in the best areas to be making helium. Not in the city of Philly itself, but in the proximity around it. And that's a very good way to make a good amount of mining rewards, is from being not in the zone of Philadelphia because of congestion, but as a relay point between 2 points. Now, I'm on a very good area where it has a lot of talking and a lot of chatter. So per day, On a good day, clear skies, and without any problems of communication, my 2 miners make approximately 1 helium a day. And that could vary a little bit more or a little bit less. Now, when we had that bad snowstorm that just happened on the 3rd of January, I was barely getting any rewards, and there was driver issues with the hotspot miner that I had, Rack Wireless. So for a good majority of the time, it was not making a lot of rewards, but once those problems were validated, it brought it back up to its normal level of around like 0.8 helium a day at that spot. Again, I could maybe tweak it just slightly more, but that's also one other thing. Now, another thing that I've been using because I've been wanting to be more independent and taking a lot of notes from Rich Dad Poor Dad, except for with a modern spin, is I was looking in projects that are going to be replacing or making substitutions for Ethereum. Ethereum is another layer 1 blockchain network so that it can be built on. The problem with Ethereum right now in its current state is before Ethereum 2.0 is that it's called gas fees. So whenever you want to purchase, transact, or swap between the token or tokens that are supported under ERC20, that it costs sometimes a large amount. Like right now, the gas fees are 567 because there's a lot of volume and volatility on the Ethereum mainnet. And that is because the price went from, 3,950 today to now it's 3,778. So once those periods of volatility go down, you can be able to transact easier on the network, or you use a different exchange that is KYC'd in the United States so that you could be able to transact when you want to claim something. But I'm using something called StrongBlock.io, and they provide nodes as a service in order for you to generate a good amount of income for passively. And they use the ERC20 platform. They recently had Polygon nodes open up as well as Phantom, and they're working on other contracts. Their competitors that were trying to hard fork them or clone them, they did not try and pursue that kind of avenue. So because of that, and because they don't really have real nodes, their prices plummeted. So why does this all tie into solar? So again, it comes down to my contract cost, to what I am initially needing to pay for when it comes to solar, which is $18,440. So factoring that into what I'm going to need is, all right, how can I generate this money before it gets put on my roof? Where can I put my deposits and where can I put my money towards to make the money work for me so that I don't need to put money up front in order to pay for this kind of occurrence? And I found that out through those two platforms that I'm using right now. I used to do day trading and swing trading, but that required a lot of my time. And I value my time. Right now, I read a lot of books. And I'm on the 48 laws of power, or 48 levels of power, whatever you want to call it. And I have another book called The Complete Turtle Trader, which I still need to catch up to. So if you're a novice investor and you want to be able to do stuff like that, it's something that's great. But again, this is what my journey was to make those rates. Now, when I bought Strong, it was approximately 1,000. It then since dipped down to 390, and then it's shot back up since then because of volatility and because nothing's guaranteed in the cryptocurrency market when it comes to a stable price point, because we are so fresh and so early in the market. So knowing that, The price right now, as I'm speaking, is $582. It has done a good amount of recovery after its competitors were listed as being fraudulent in their nature with having real nodes. So again, I'm not talking about all of them. Some of them do have nodes. Some of them are KYC'd, but Strong was one of the first ones. They've doxed themselves. That means they actually show their faces for the non-crypto people out there, because a lot of people on these crypto projects are very anonymous. So again, it could be some validity into it when you dox yourself and you're trying to KYC and you're trying to make yourself as a business, and you're offering services for everybody in a decentralized format, even though it is centralized, because you're going through a service provider rather than generating your own Ethereum nodes, which, I mean, in all actuality, not a lot of people can afford, because you need 32 Ethereum tokens. And Ethereum right now, as I mentioned earlier, was like $3,770. So you can do the math, times that by 32, and that's a lot of freaking money. I think that's like above, like, you know what? I'm going to do the math right here because I'm talking to you guys. 3,770 times 32. It's 120K. So prices fluctuate, and you can obviously see something in that grounds as the time I was talking about this, where it could be a lot of money more than what you can put up with like a strong node, which is you times 582 times 10, which is $5,820 to make a strong node that can passively get you something. I'm not talking about the thematic nodes. I'm not talking about the phantom nodes. I'm not talking about anything like that. But that's how I generated my thesis when it comes to paying and making my house work for itself. Now, nodes don't really do as much when it comes to needing a set location. It's more the fact of helium at a set location. Now, if you are doing a form of mining per se, whether it's Ethereum, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, or something like that, the philosophy still stands. As long as you're able to make a metric to pay for solar, you're able to do that. And the final thought that I will say is get solar and get it contracted in most cases right now, because emerging technologies out there that aren't as prevalent, which I can say is, what is it? RA something. No, it's right here. GAF Energy. They are making shingle solar panels. They just announced this yesterday, and they haven't disclosed the price. But if you wanted to have something that is less efficient than, like, I think it's like 50% less efficient than a Tesla solar roof, and you want to have like this shingle aesthetic, you kind of have that with it, but then there's also a divider in the middle of it, which can also lead to problems later on. Now, I only say problems later on is because of maybe having an issue with servicing, but because they left the wires not exposed, but underneath a guardrail in the middle, I'll have a picture of this laid up. You will have this kind of depiction between the two. And how this ties on with my next project, which I'm going to be thinking of, is having a permitless battery backup system. And that is a challenge that I still have to think of and get everything down and on paper to see. If you guys like this kind of content, please leave a like, leave a comment down below, and have a good one.